Let's just get right into it, aka Padders. This episode, 574 of aka Pads, a Film Buff podcast. This is why we do this podcast, because we're talking about a movie that is not even on your radar. I can guarantee it. I'm talking to you about Boys and Girls 2000. This movie is old AF. In my terms, this movie was something that came out, and I guess I didn't have any girls to go see this movie with, because I remember our previous flick, 573. She's All That became a cultural benchmark. You could reference a girl by saying She's All That. But we're talking about the follow-up for Freddie Prinze Jr., the follow-up of making another low-budget independent movie, hoping for a $100 million payday. Let's just get into the box office here. Budget, $35 million or $30 million. Box office, $26 million. This movie had a lot behind it. We have a fantastic script. We have a beautiful cast. Jason Biggs, American Pie, plays a perfectly wacky, zany character. We have a Claire Fulani. We have a rising Freddie Prinze Jr., who, from horror, people forget, Freddie Prinze Jr. came on the scene through a Scream wannabe movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer. And from there, he became a staple for a long time in teen romantic comedies. Claire Fulani would later go into, our babe for the movie. She would later just get wrapped up in kind of mid-level action-y movies, but I know her from two movies. Meet Joe Black, where she is, 98. Meet Joe Black. She is flawless in that movie. Acting, cinematography, she is well lit. That movie loves her, and she loves that movie back. And Mystery Men. The great Paul Rubin just passed away, R.I.P. It's also one of Paul Rubin's best performances. Ben Stiller, one of his best performances. It goes on and on. So what exactly is this movie? Look, this movie, it's exciting because with She's All That, the way how She's All That hit the culture, hit the lexicon. If you're going to do a follow-up, you really have to do something different. And by follow-up, I mean, look, we have the guy in the previous teen romantic young Hollywood movie. What else can we put him in that's similar but not like it? It has to be different just enough. What do you do? How do you solve that problem? Well, She's All That. We all know the hook. The girl's geeky and she turns sexy. Well, let's flip the script. Let's have Freddie Prinze Jr. be that geeky guy and have him become sexy. And this movie is really about two star-crossed lovers. They eventually find themselves, and they find themselves in the most torturous way. I love the first 15 minutes of this movie because it literally might span like 11 years. Because Freddie Prinze Jr. and Claire Fulani are two kids that meet each other on an airplane. And then, just through life, they bump back into each other at college or high school. And then a couple more years go by. They see each other at Berkeley in California college. And already, we're 8 or 9 years past the beginning of this movie. And we see this longing of the two. And the two of them are just two young souls in college, figuring things out, experiencing one another. The movie goes year to year. So Freddie Prinze Jr. comes back. He has a girlfriend. Claire Fulani comes back. Her heart's broken. Freddie Prinze Jr. comes back. Right, junior year, his heart's broken. To where the two of them, just through the universe colliding, the universe putting them in the right place at the right time, they eventually kiss. Great effing scene, by the way. When these two kiss, it's fantastic. And then eventually sleep with one another. And that's my problem with this movie. The sex scene in this movie has to go. At one point, the way how it's lit and the way how it's shot and what we're seeing within the frame, I thought it was going to be a daydream or a fantasy, or he was just going to be like someone's mind was wandering and we were going to get a hard cut back to the coffee house that, basically this whole sequence started in. But no, the sex scene in this movie needs to go. It could have been a little bit more thought out, a little bit more artful. I'm not too into it, but the repercussions of that scene within the characters is it's romantic comedy gold. The two of them are estranged. It leads into Freddie Prinze Jr., who's no longer a geek, by the way. He is a sexy young man. He gives one of the best romantic comedy speeches I think I've ever heard. What he says and how he explains everything to Claire Filani, it makes you want that. Like, you want his experience. And it's fantastic writing. It really is. And we have it at the Golden Gate Bridge, which is somewhat of a bookend. It's a metaphor for this movie, believe it or not. And this movie's structured. It's all the way through. What we get along the way, we get stereotypical characters. Like I said, Jason Biggs, American Pie, plays he plays the wacky roommate friend, and he's like the opposite of Freddie Prinze Jr. Claire Filani's roommate, very much the same. This is common structure for a lot of these movies because it helps us identify with the protagonist even more. Well done. But a lot of people will nitpick that. I think this movie is a nothing but a solid recommendation. It's exciting when you go through the people that made it. Let's just get into our director, Robert Iscove. All right, we have, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. She's All That, 1999. Boys and Girls, 2000. And that's it. Sorry, guys. I hyped that one up a little bit too much. He's a career director. He's just one of those guys. His credits are a lot of things that you may not have heard of, but these are the two that you have. Interesting, though, is Andrew Miller, the Drews. This movie is credited to be written by the Drews, which is two Andrews. He's director of Boy Meets Girl, Imaginary Bitches, and Cooking to Get Lucky. Again, another career guy. But writing-wise, 1999, the Drew wrote Simon Says, and we know that is a Dennis Rodman, Jean-Claude Van Damme action movie, cringe fest masterpiece. That movie is tough to watch. I've tried to watch it a few times. But let's just get into where Freddie Prinze Jr. is at this time in his career, right? Because he's the focus. 1997, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Scream, wannabe Scream ripoff. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in this movie. The movie does well, though. It's probably, and I believe it's written by Scott Williams, right? The creator of Scream. That's how hot Scott Williams was. 1998, the follow-up, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. 1999, She's All That. Now, in 1999, Matthew Lillard from Scream, him and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in a bunch of movies together. They're in back-to-back movies. She's All That and Wing Commander. I believe they're in 5 movies together. The next one that comes to mind is Summer Catch. 2000, Down to You. I remember liking that movie. I have to rewatch it. 2000, Boys and Girls. 2001, Head Over Heels. 2001, Summer Catch, again, with Matthew Lillard. Now, 2002, Freddie Prinze Jr. defines his career. Scooby-Doo, 2004, Scooby-Doo, Monsters Unleashed. That is the movie, that is the role for him. Now, from there, he becomes more or less a voice actor. The idea of him being in Wing Commander and that movie flopping is of note, and we will get to that at some time, but not right now. Claire Filani, I was watching this movie, I'm thinking it's before Meet Joe Black. But let's just get into my favorite movie of hers. It's not the 1995 Mallrats, right? 1996, The Rock. She is Sean Connery's daughter in The Rock. Basquiat, she plays Basquiat's girlfriend. She's great in that. Last Time I Committed Suicide, great in that. Meet Joe Black is her movie. Then we have Mystery Men, The Magicians, Boys and Girls, Antitrust, which also has Rachel Lee Cook, Triggermen, and like I said, her career from this point is way more diverse on screen than Freddie Prinze Jr. between her TV and film work. And then we have Jason Biggs. And Jason Biggs' arc is so interesting because we do know him from American Pie. He built that name, like it was his name, it was him, his performance. He built that movie. It's him and Stifler. That's American Pie. But then we have Boys and Girls. We have Loser with the girl from American Pie is also in Loser. What is her name? Mina Savina. Okay. Saving Silverman, great movie. So look at this: American Pie, Boys and Girls, Loser, Saving Silverman, all great performances from him. American Pie 2. Then we get Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I guess a cameo. Prozac Nation. I remember liking that. Nothing's coming to mind though. American Wedding. I love the American Pie trilogy. Then we get Jersey Girl. Look, guys, we don't hate Kevin Smith here. Jersey Girl is one of the most underappreciated movies, overrated to hate movies. It really is. Jersey Girl is solid. Then we get 8 Below, Wedding Days, The Glitch. The guy is in a ton of good movies, but he's in what's his Woody Allen movie? What's his Woody Allen movie? It's not Wedding Days. Hold up, guys. Life Happens? No. I'm just clicking on everything in Wikipedia because I did have it highlighted, and hold up here. Here it is, people. It's called Anything Else, 2003 with Christina Ricci. It's one of those other fantastic, great, never spoken of Woody Allen movies. So I just feel like this movie too. When we look at the careers of Filoni, Jason Biggs, and Freddie Prinze Jr., this movie is a highlight for all three of those careers. It's definitely a highlight for the writing. Directing is directing. That sex scene has to go, but everything else just works so well with this movie. I even love the coffee house where they pretty much first kiss, because it's a coffee house, performance center, and laundromat, and it's the perfect college place to hang out. Or it's like part internet cafe. But people, recommending this movie all day, all night. So let's just get into 575. We're doing He's All That, the Netflix movie, because we do love Netflix here. He's All That. We're going to discuss it, and then at that point we might just do a Smallville episode because it features the Blue Beetle, and I was just so curious, and I just feel like there's a lot to discuss just with me as a viewer when it comes to a TV show that is literally maybe 25 years between me watching any episode of. So, that should be documented. People, aka Padders, I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Rock and roll.